When a teen with an icy stare and a last name way too big for his age checked into my hotel, I thought I'd kick him out in no time. Instead, he turned my life into a living nightmare, exposing every dirty secret to bring me to my knees. And guess what? That was just the beginning. Let's dive into how it all went down. Ben Harrison, the ever-composed manager of Manhattan's most elite heritage hotel, stood behind the marble reception desk, his sharp eyes scanning the evening rush. Elegance above all was his silent motto, though his tone often bordered on disdain. A black man in a tailored suit approached, accompanied by a teenage boy, 15, maybe 16, with an unnerving stillness in his posture. The boy's gaze, steady and almost too calm, locked onto Ben, making him shift slightly before regaining his composure. "Reservation name?" Ben asked, his voice sharp and professional. "Barron Trump," the man replied flatly. Ben's breath hitched. Trump. The name carried weight, but the boy didn't fit the image. No entourage, no theatrics, just quiet confidence. Smirking internally, Ben decided this wasn't someone to impress. Instead of offering a suite, he handed over the key to room 405, the hotel's problem room, cramped, outdated, and barely functional. The boy took the key with a nod, said nothing, and followed the man toward the elevator. Ben watched them disappear, a sly grin tugging at his lips. "They'll be asking for a refund by morning," he muttered to himself. Room 405 lived up to its reputation. The walls were scarred with peeling wallpaper, the carpet reeked faintly of mildew, and the bathroom faucet dripped with a steady, irritating rhythm. The man in the suit grimaced. "You can't be serious," he scoffed, glancing around the dingy space. The boy, unbothered, set his duffel bag on the battered desk, pulled out a sleek tablet, and perched on the edge of the sagging bed. He began swiping through his screen with quiet focus. "I'll be back in the morning," the man said, shaking his head before leaving. The boy gave a slight nod, never breaking his concentration. Back in his office, Ben leaned back in his chair, sipping coffee as he glanced at the security feeds. The boy in room 405 caught his attention. Instead of sleeping, he was glued to his tablet, poring over what looked like floor plans. Occasionally, he jotted something down in a notebook beside him. "What's he doing?" Ben murmured, leaning closer to the screen. There was no frustration, no discomfort, just quiet, deliberate work. It unsettled him. "Let him play around," Ben muttered with a smirk. "He'll get bored soon enough." The next morning, curiosity got the better of Ben. He marched to room 405, eager to see their reaction to the dump he'd stuck them in. Using his master key, he let himself in, only to find the room empty. On the desk sat a single sheet of paper. Ben unfolded it, his smug expression fading into confusion as he read the neat handwriting. "See you at your workplace." Ben stood frozen, the note clutched in his hand. His phone buzzed, snapping him back. A text from the front desk. "Media inquiries coming in about the hotel. Did you authorize this?" Panic set in. Whatever was happening, it wasn't over. This kid was playing a game, and Ben wasn't sure of the rules. Ben's morning started with a knot in his stomach. The note left by Barron haunted him, an eerie reminder that something was brewing. As he reached the front desk, he spotted a crowd of guests huddled near the entrance, their hushed voices growing louder with frustration. "What's going on here?" Ben barked, pushing through the throng. One guest turned, holding up their phone. "This," they said sharply. Ben grabbed the phone and stared at the screen. A video was playing, crisp, damning footage of the hotel's dirtiest secrets. Mold-covered walls, stained carpets, cockroaches crawling in the bathrooms. The camera panned slowly, each frame more grotesque than the last, while the caption read, "Here's what a luxury really looks like." The comments were brutal. "Is this a hotel or a health hazard?" "Refunds now." "Never staying here again." Ben's jaw tightened. This had Barron's fingerprints all over it. But how? The security system was supposed to be airtight, controlled exclusively by him. A sharp ring interrupted his spiraling thoughts. He snatched his phone off the counter. The caller ID made his chest tighten. It was the owner. "Ben," the voice was icy and clipped. "Do you know we're facing a class action lawsuit? A health inspector will be there in 3 days. Fix this or you're finished." The line went dead. Ben slammed the phone down, his face burning. Ben bolted to his office, his heart racing. He flipped through the security feeds, expecting to find a clue, but the footage from the previous day? Gone, wiped clean. His hands shook as he opened his laptop, frantically searching for traces of a breach. Nothing. It was as if Barron had ghosted through the system. Back at the front desk, Barron appeared, now alone. He stood with perfect composure, his polite smile betraying an edge of something darker. "Good morning, Mr. Harrison," Barron said, his voice calm yet cutting. Ben's fists clenched. "You think you can blackmail me?" he spat, barely able to contain his anger. "Blackmail?" Barron raised an eyebrow, his tone feigning innocence. "I'm just sharing the truth. Isn't that what good businesses want? Transparency?" Ben's face flushed with fury. "Get out! Security!" he barked. Two guards arrived, each grabbing Barron by the arm. The boy didn't struggle, his expression remaining unnervingly composed. As they dragged him toward the door, the hotel lobby exploded with flashing cameras and shouting reporters. "Why are you kicking out a kid?" a journalist called, thrusting a microphone toward Ben. Ben froze. He hadn't seen the press waiting outside. They surged forward, snapping pictures, shouting over one another. Barron stood in the center of the chaos, a faint smile on his lips, as if orchestrating the entire scene. Ben tried to explain, but the questions came too fast. Is this about the video? Why isn't the hotel addressing the complaints? Do you have something to hide? Under the pressure, Ben backed off. Fine, let him stay. He growled through gritted teeth before storming back to his office. By evening, social media was ablaze with posts about the hotel. Hashtags like #dirtyhotel, #refundnow, and #shutitdown were trending. Every hour, new videos and photos surfaced, guests sharing their horror stories. The hotel's reputation was in freefall, but the worst was yet to come. Late that night, Ben, obsessively watching the security feeds, spotted Barron slipping into the service corridors. His heart raced as he grabbed his keys and rushed downstairs. Reaching the maintenance room, he found the door locked. He fumbled with his master key, cursing under his breath. When the door finally opened, the room was empty, except for a mess of papers scattered across the floor. Ben's eyes fell on one document in particular. He picked it up, his blood running cold. It was his personal contract with the hotel owner. A clause was highlighted in yellow, one he'd overlooked. In the event of reputational damage, the manager assumes full liability. Ben's hands trembled. Barron wasn't just playing a game. He was dismantling Ben's life piece by piece. Ben stood frozen in the icy maintenance room, his hands clutching the damning contract. His signature stared back at him, mocking. Highlighted in glaring yellow was a clause he'd never noticed. In the event of a major media scandal, the manager assumes full financial and reputational liability. Anger bubbled in his chest, but beneath it was panic. If this spiraled any further, Ben wouldn't just lose his job, he'd be buried under debts he could never repay. Back in his office, Ben sprang into action. He called his security team, demanding night patrols. He installed extra cameras in every hallway, every blind spot, determined to catch Barron red-handed. Every move the boy made would be tracked, but Barron always seemed a step ahead. He'd vanish into locked rooms, reappear where no cameras could see him. Guests began complaining of eerie happenings, flickering lights, rattling doors, whispers in empty hallways. Even the front desk reported mysterious power outages. The hotel felt alive, and not in a good way. "What is this kid? A magician?" Ben muttered, his nerves fraying. On the third morning, a sleek black limo pulled up to the hotel's grand entrance. Ben watched from the lobby as a man in a tailored suit stepped out, exuding power. "That's Daniel Cross," whispered a receptionist. "Top legal fixer." Ben's stomach churned. Cross was here for the lawsuit, no doubt. As Cross strode toward the desk, Ben stepped forward, ready to defend himself, until he noticed who was walking beside him. Barron. "Mr. Harrison," Cross began smoothly, "we'd like a word about the future of this establishment." Barron's icy gaze met Ben's. His faint smile carried an air of triumph. "You still don't get it, do you?" the boy said softly. Cross set a sleek laptop on the desk and opened it. On the screen were videos, clear, damning footage of Ben giving orders to skip inspections, intimidating staff, and snapping at guests. The clips were edited into a professional exposé, polished and persuasive. And then Barron made his move. "You know who I am, don't you?" he asked, his voice calm but cutting. "I'm Barron Trump. My family could have bought this hotel just for fun, but instead, we're making it better. And guess what? It's not yours anymore." Ben's knees nearly buckled. Cross elaborated. The hotel had been quietly purchased by a shell company tied to the Trump family. The chaos, the media storm, it had all been orchestrated. Every step of the way, Barron had been pulling the strings. The next day, the headlines exploded. Hotel manager fired amid scandal. Trump family takes over iconic NYC hotel. Barron Trump's bold move rescues luxury brand. The viral video Barron had crafted continued to spread, now framed as a success story of transformation and accountability. Ben, meanwhile, was gone. No job, no reputation, no future. Weeks later, the hotel reopened, under a new name and fresh management. The lobby gleamed with renewed energy as guests streamed in. At the center of it all, Barron sat in a polished leather chair, scrolling through his phone. A text from his father appeared on the screen. "Good job, son." Barron smirked, glancing around his new domain. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement. What would you do in Ben's place? Do you think he deserved what happened, or could he have handled things differently? Share your thoughts in the comments. Have you or someone you know faced a situation like this? Don't forget to like and share if this story made you think. This story was created to shine a light on real-world issues and inspire positive change. Your voice matters. Together, we can make the world a better place.